Hiya folks, Gord here for Northeastern Ontario Tourism. And what can I say? It's the time we've been waiting for. Kind of like your birthday, Christmas, New Year's, and your summer vacation all rolled into one. It's early in the walleye season just opened. The weather is absolutely gorgeous, and the fish are biting like crazy. But I'll tell you probably the number one question I get asked by most walleye anglers is this one. Should I vertically jig or should I troll? And the answer I always give is yes. Yes, you should do both. Now, what I like to do anytime I'm visiting, especially a lake I don't know and it's fairly big, especially a lake like Lake Nipissing or Lake Temagami, they're perfect examples. If I don't know that lake really, really well, I always start out trolling. Now, my favorite trolling approach? Probably a bottom bouncer and a spinner rig, a crawler harness. If early in the year and the water's cold, I'll often go to a single hook spinner rig and I'll tip it with a minnow. If the water's fairly warm like it is right now, I'll tip it with a crawler or another single hook and I'll tip it with a leech. But a bottom bouncer and a spinner rig trolling along at about 1.1, 1.3 miles an hour, I can go down a shoreline and I can cover lots of territory. The other key with trolling early in the season for walleyes, don't just throw your lure out or your bottom bouncer, drop it over the side of the boat and start random trolling. What I always like to do is I'll pick a contour. I'll try and gauge where I think those fish are. I might go down the 15-foot contour for half a mile or so in an area I suspect has got walleyes. If I don't pick anything up, I might go to another area and try 17 or 20, 22. I'll vary the depth and I'll contour troll. But I'm covering water, I'm prospecting if you will, and I'm looking for fish. Another little secret actually with the spinner rig early in the season for walleyes, little trick John Butts taught me. John's the only Canadian ever to win a PWT championship, walleye tournament championship. And what John does, especially in lakes where there's lots of weeds, shallow weedy cover early in the spring, he takes the bottom bouncer off and he'll put either a single split shot or no shot at all. And then he goes into shallow back bays where the weeds are just starting to grow, and he actually trolls in 3, 4, 5 feet of water just over top of the emerging cabbage beds. And it's absolutely deadly at this time of the year. Now, something else you need to consider if you're starting to find the walleyes very, very shallow is forget about the bottom bouncer altogether and do what we call flatlining. And what flatlining is simply take your bait caster spinning rod and reel, and what I like to use is a braided line or a gel spun line. They're very, very thin diameter, no stretch at all. They cut the water quickly and go down. And what I'll do is I'll troll a minnow bait or a crankbait, and I'll be in 2, 3, 5, 7 feet of water. I'll pull a small bait like a Rapala scatter wrap. These things are absolutely deadly for walleye. I'll tell you an even deadlier approach though if you find those fish deep in say 12, 15, 20, 25 feet is put that on with lead core line. So if you've got a lead core outfit, and we're still talking about trolling for walleyes in the spring, you troll a bait like this, little tiny crankbait, you get that down into 20, 25, 27 feet of water early in the season. The fish have never seen a little bait like that down there that deep. You can only do it on lead core outfits. And again, it's a trolling approach in the spring that's deadly. Now, why are we doing all these trolling presentations? Why are we considering bottom bouncers and spinner rigs, or maybe flatline trolling, or pulling these on a lead core outfit down in deeper water? The whole reason that we're trolling early in the season is to find the concentrations of fish. And when we find those concentrations, believe it or not, we put the trolling outfits down and then we pick up probably the number one presentation in the spring, and that's a jig. When the water's super cold again, a jig and a minnow. When it starts to warm up, a jig and half a crawler, or a jig and a leech. But you put that jig, the reason we trolled was to find the fish. Now that we found them, we've got them circled, if you will. I'll hit the spot lock on my Ultrex motor, or I'll drop the Minn Kota Talon. I sit right over top of the fish. I watch my hummingbird, and I just put it down there. I can see them coming up, and boom. If, though, I've trolled, I found that nice concentration. I might catch half a dozen, 15 fish on the jig and minnow, and then the action starts to slow down, those walleyes wise up. I got the deadliest presentation of all, that almost no one fishes in the spring, and that's a slip bobber rig. You simply tip that again with a lively minnow, a night crawler, or a leech. You put a sliding bobber up your line. I've got it set for whatever depth. The bobber stops when I hit the school of walleye just above them. I can just pitch it out, let it sit there. The walleye see that bait swimming. There's nothing attached to it. It's probably the most finesse presentation you can make. You watch the bobber go down, and it's lights out for walleye. Honest truth, on the weekend, almost a 100 fish day. We didn't get down till 10:30 in the morning. We found those fish by pulling bottom bouncers. We circled the school, and then we mopped up with jigs and slip floats. It really is that easy in the spring, folks. If you're visiting northeastern Ontario and you're visiting a lake you have never fished before, or even a lake you're pretty familiar with, but you can't contact walleye, you start to troll one of those approaches that I've talked about. When you find the fish, stop, fish beside them, either a jig, you can cast those very same baits, or throw a slip bobber, and you mop up. It's the time of your life. It's spring. It's like I said, it's Christmas, New Year's, your summer vacation rolled into one, and it's what I've been waiting for months.